Today's topic is estimating square roots. Yesterday we talked about how to find the square root of a number that is a perfect square, and those come out even. So today, what if I asked you to estimate the square root of 18? Do you have any ideas on what we could do? 18 is not a perfect square. Take a minute, hit pause, and then think about it. How could we estimate the square root of 18? Before we get started today, I'd like you to get all of your notes ready. So what I'd like you to do is to take all the notes papers and to glue them onto pages 14 and 15 in your notebook. The green sheet can go on the left-hand side. We'll take the notes later, so don't fill that in right now. The orange sheet can fold up. This one folds up as like an accordion. You just bend it on the lines and it folds up nice and neat. This one you can glue sideways. You only glue this area down and then you cut along the flaps. And then this one right here you can glue down also. So take a second, hit pause, and glue all those things down so that we're ready to go and take notes. Okay, so we're going to start on the notes that you have on page 14 of your math notebook. So yesterday we learned what perfect squares are. We know that perfect squares are numbers whose square roots are whole numbers. They come out exactly even. Perfect squares are always rational numbers. Rational means you can write them as a fraction. Can you take a second and think of some examples of perfect squares that you learned yesterday? Hit pause and write a few examples down. When you're ready, hit play. Some examples of perfect squares that we learned yesterday would be the square root of 64, which we know is 8, the square root of 4, which we know is 2, the square root of 196, which we know is 14. Maybe you have some other ones written down that you took notes on yesterday. Today we're going to look at non-perfect squares. So following along in your notes on page 14, non-perfect squares will always be irrational numbers, which means you cannot write them as a fraction. If you would put a non-perfect square into your calculator, it would be a decimal that would be non-terminating and non-repeating. They would continue forever and ever. We could never write those numbers as fractions. So we say they are irrational. Some examples of non-perfect squares would be the square root of any number that isn't a perfect one. So examples could be the square root of 6, the square root of 45, the square root of 180. There's an infinite number of examples, so I'm sure you could think of a few more. While the square root of a non-perfect square is irrational, we can use our knowledge of perfect squares to estimate their value. And so that is the goal for today. I'd like for you to learn some tips on how to estimate square roots. So let's get started. Again, on page 14 of your notes, there are 3 examples there, and I'd like to go through them. While we're going through them, you can even refer to this white slip of paper that you glued in on page 15 of your notes. It has all the perfect squares. It has images of the squares. It has the square roots written on the bottom, and then what their whole numbers are written below that. So first of all, example number 1 says, estimate the value of the square root of 50. Use a number line to help you locate the closest perfect square. So what I want you to do is I'd like for you to think about which square roots is 50 close to. So if you look at your list of perfect squares, we know that we have the square root of 49 is close to 50. It's just below it. And just above the square root of 50, we have the square root of 64. Those are 2 square roots that we know that square root of 50 would land somewhere in the middle of. The square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 64 is 8. So we know then the square root of 50 is somewhere between 7 and 8. Now, for a better estimate, we want to determine which perfect square it is closest to. So if you look at the number 50, it's only 1 away from 49, but it is 14 spaces away. The number 50, is 14 spaces away from the number 64. So obviously 50 is closer to 49, so the square root of 50 will be closer to 7 rather than 8. Okay, because it's closer to the square root of 49, which is 7. Let me make that 7 a little bit better. So since the square root of 50 is just a little bit above the square root of 49, a good estimate would be maybe it's around 7.1. If you think about our number line here, let me just kind of highlight that for you. We have the numbers 7 and 8. And if I would take that number line and divide it up into 10 equal parts, I could have 7.1, 7.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and so on, and just keep breaking this up. And so we know 50 was just a little bit above the 49, so the square root of 50 is just going to be a little bit above what the square root of 49 is, so that's where the 7.1 comes into play. Let's look at some more examples. So example number 2 says, estimate the value of the square root of 22. So again, our first step, we look at a number line. So we draw a number line if we don't have one. Our second step is, we want to think about which perfect squares do I know that the square root of 22 will be in between. So just below that, on my list of perfect squares, I have the square root of 16. Just above that, I have the square root of 25. The square root of 16 is the number 4. The square root of 25 is the number 5. So therefore, I know the square root of 22 will be a number between 4 and 5. Well, which one is it closer to? Well, the number 22 is closer to 25. It's only 3 spaces away. It's 6 spaces away from 16, because 22 minus 16 is 6. So since it's closer to the square root of 25, we say that it's going to be closer to 5. If you think about between 16 and 25, here and here, that's a distance of almost 10 spaces. So if I were to divide up this number line from 4 to 5 into 10 equal spaces, I know that 22 is only 3 spaces away from 25, and 3 spaces away from 5 would be about 4.7. So my estimate, and this is just an estimate, is about 4.7. If you got 4.8, that would also be a good estimate. Let's look at another example. Example number 3, again, on your notes on page 14. It says, estimate the value of the square root of 103. So, again, you start off, you draw your number line. That's already there for you. The second step, think about 2 square roots that we know, 2 perfect squares, that 103 is in between. Take a minute, hit pause, and when you're ready, hit play. Okay, what you should have come up with is the square root of 103 is in between the square root of 100 and the square root of 121. The square root of 100, and again that was a 0 there, is 10. You have to apologize, it's hard for me to write on this screen. The square root of 121 is 11. So the square root of 103 has to be somewhere in between 10 and 11. Which one is it closer to? Well, here's where we look. You'll have to excuse me for that. So 103 is only 3 spaces away from 100. 103 is 118, or I'm sorry, it's 18 spaces away from 121. So it's obviously closer to this one down here. So we say that it is closer to 10. And a decimal estimate might be, now think about, there's 21 spaces in between here and here if you're looking at the number 100 and 121. And it's closer down towards the 100 range by only 3 of those spaces. So it's going to be very close to 10, maybe just a tiny bit above it. So I'm going to guess it's around 10.1. And that would be my decimal estimate. Now let's try some problems that you glued down with that orange slip of paper on page 15 of your notes. So on page 15 of your notes, if you lift up this flap right here, you can take notes on how to estimate the square root of 18. I'm going to show you how you can use this number line with all these squares in it to help you with that. So we're going to look at the square root of 18. You go to this number line and you say, okay, I know the square root of 18 is in between here and here, 16 and 25. So it's going to land somewhere in there. I'm going to be giving you a little sticky note that you can put to show it's going to land somewhere in between there. So therefore, you could write down on your little number line underneath this flap right here, and you could draw a number line and you could say, okay, I know it's in between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. So therefore, it is in between 4 and 5. Now, to get a better estimate than just in between 4 and 5, you can see, okay, well, where is the number 18 closer to? Is 18 closer to the 16 or closer to the 25? Well, 18 is only 2 spaces away from 16, but the number 18 is 7 spaces away from the number 25. So it's closer to the 16. The distance between those two, again, is about 10. So since it's like 2 spaces away from the 16, I could say it's about 4.2. And that's my decimal approximation. If you need some help, follow this path that's laid out for you here. Draw your number line. Find the 2 closest perfect squares. Determine which one it's closest to, and then choose a reasonable decimal for your answer. Let's try another one on that same orange slip that's glued in on page 15. All right, our next example is the square root of 62. It's located right here in the middle flap. So lift it up and let's take some notes. So step number 1, draw a number line. Well, we have our number line right here in front of us. And what we're going to look for is where would the square root of 62 fall? So you're going to see it's going to fall in between these 2 square roots here, the square root of 49 and the square root of 64. So the square root of 49 is 7. That's shown right here. The square root of 64 is 8. And the number 62 is closer to 64. So we know it's in between 7 and 8, but it's going to be closer to the 8. It's only 2 spaces away. So we want to estimate about what decimal would it be. Is it 7.5, 7.6, 7.7? What would it be closest to? Why don't you hit pause and see if you can guess at what you think it would be closest to. Hit play when you are ready. Okay, so the square root of 62 is only 2 spaces away from 64. So this is a little bit more than 10 spaces in between the number 49 and the number 64. But we should say that we know it's going to be somewhere close to that 8. So I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere around maybe 7.8, 7.9. I'm going to go with 7.8. There's one more example on that orange flap. Let's do that one quickly. So right here, we're going to look at the square root of 138. Now, my little number line here isn't going up that large. So you need to use your perfect square knowledge to think about which 2 perfect squares it will fall in between. So you draw your number line. We'll put 2 numbers on here. Let's think of square roots that the 138 would fall in between, square roots that we know, the perfect squares. So I know that the square root of 144 is 12. Oh, my apologies here, the writing. And just below that, I know the square root of 121 is 11. So the square root of 138 is somewhere in between 11 and 12. Now, which is it closest to? Is 138 closer to 121 or 144? Well, it's only 6 spaces away from 144. If I take 144 minus 138, that's 6. And if I take 138 minus 121, that actually gives me 17. So it's definitely closer to this right here. A reasonable estimation would be about 11.7. Now you can get started on your homework.